When we're talking about the word no, it's not dirty. It's a whole sentence. It's a finished thought. It's a final thought. And it's a final word. No is no. And we have to use that word more so that we can keep our sanity, create peace, and relieve overwhelm. The word no can help you keep your sanity, create peace, and relieve overwhelm. And I want to help you out if you have a problem with saying no. If you have a problem with saying no, you may need to start with baby steps and rephrase. So, I want to give you some phrases that you can use instead of the word no if you're uncomfortable with saying no. So, here we go. These are a couple of phrases that you can use in life and in business. So, you can use this in your life system, you can use this in your business system. And I want you to write them down and I want you to practice them. Practice them in a mirror, practice them in your home, practice them just saying them out loud because they will come in handy and come in clutch when there's something that you know you should not be doing, you know you don't want to do, or you know it's just can't fit, but you want to try to cram it in because you want to help. Here are those phrases. Thank you for considering me, but at this time, I cannot work it into my schedule. Here is another phrase. I checked my schedule, and at this time, I'm fully booked. Another one, I have checked my schedule and I'm unavailable, but I'll swing back to you if something changes. So those are the fill in the word phrases. Those are the wordy phrases for people who feel uncomfortable with the short phrase no. So now when you are moving towards saying no, I want to give you some phrases that you can use that are a little shorter, but they're still not just saying no. Welcome to another unapologetic mommy moment inside of the mommyhood.
You caught me in the act.
Mommy Moments. This episode is sponsored by Thrive After 9, a community and support system for moms who are coaches, consultants, and entrepreneurs supporting each other in a positive, safe, judgment-free zone of other like-minded women getting things done to thrive in your home and business. To find out more, go to www.thriveafter9.com. Hello. Welcome, mommies. You are tuned in to Mommy Moments, a segment of Unapologetically Mommyhood, where we focus on things that every mom can use, relate to, and apply to thrive in their home and business. So today, we are going to be talking a very important topic because I know as moms, we try to do it all. So today we're talking about mommy and superwoman, those two words being synonymous, similar, but not the same thing. Because sometimes we're mommy, sometimes we're labeled as superwoman by our kids, by our husband, by our families, by everybody who depends on us. But sometimes we need to take that cape off and just be, just exist, relax, recharge, and be our best self for ourselves. So I'm going to hop right into it because this is so very important because as moms, when we're doing all of the things and taking care of all of the people, we tend to forget us, ourselves, who we are, what we're doing, why we're doing it. And we just start blending in with everything else. But it's so very important that we don't just exist as a mom and we don't just exist as somebody that other people need, but we exist for ourselves too. So the first thing that I want to focus on in this conversation is slowing down. We have to slow down. We do all the things, we take care of all the people without slowing down to recharge, right? So recently, I spoke to a couple on my podcast and they talked about resyncing your relationship when times get out of the norm, everything is wild and wonky, and you want to get back together with your partner and focus, right? Take a pause. And I think we need to do the same thing as moms. We need to take that pause to resync and recharge ourselves so that we don't burn out and we can give our best to the things that we're doing and the people who need us the most, right? But if we never ever slow down or take that time to recharge, how can we be our best selves? That's where we move into the brink of breaking down, the brink of blowing up, the brink of burning out, is when we don't take the time to slow down and recharge. So, slowing down is a life system. So, slowing down to thrive is what I call a life system. When you can schedule time in to slow down, recharge, resync, and intentionally slow down to recharge or resync. So I want you to write this down. The intentionality that it takes to slow down, recharge time, resync time intentionally. So when we're talking about recharging, we're talking about body, mind, and emotions. When we're talking about recharging, we're talking about body, mind, emotions, right? When we're talking about resyncing, we're talking about resyncing mentally, physically, and emotionally. It's your time to reset. And they both run together because if you don't recharge, guess what? Your batteries all ran out. We recharge our phones. We make sure that all of our electronics that we need are synced and charged so that they're ready when we need them. We need to do the same thing with ourselves. We need to do that with our minds. We need to make sure our minds are at their optimum, right? We have to make sure that they're synced and recharged and reset so that we don't feel overwhelmed, right? Same thing with our emotions. We need to make sure our emotions are resynced and reset. We need to make sure our emotions are recharged so again, we don't feel overwhelmed and burnt out. And then physically, now this is a big one as well. Sometimes when we're thinking about burning out, we just think about burning out mentally, right? And emotionally. Like it's all about the feelings. But being burnt out is about your body too. Your body can only handle so much, and your body will tell you when you can't do anymore. Believe me, it's happened to me on multiple occasions where I was going, and my body said, not anymore, you're done. And my body shut down on me, so I couldn't do anything. So all that time I was out of sync, not being able to do anything because I let my body tell me what to do, right? Instead of telling my body what to do by taking care of it and taking care of it in two ways: by moving my body healthily, not overexerting, not overdoing it, and then by not giving my body rest and recharge time, rejuvenating it, giving it the liquid that it needs, right? We have to hydrate, not giving it the right nourishment that it needs, right? The healthy foods that we need to eat in order for our bodies to operate. When a lot of times when we're moving, running, sometimes we can junk it up and we get junky with our food intake, and our body says, no more, you're going to slow down. So we need to tell our bodies what to do and not let our bodies tell us what to do, right? So that's part of your recharging and resyncing. So slowing down, what we want to do is slow down to thrive. That's a life system, right? Slow down to thrive. Next, we want to recharge. Recharge our body, mind, and emotions. Then we want to resync. And we want to resync mentally, physically, and emotionally. This is our time to reset our minds, our bodies, and our emotions so that we can thrive in life, right? And in our business. Because if we're not healthy in life, we're not thriving in life, we cannot thrive in our business as well. So let's move on. So, as a mom, this is something that's really, really big. And this will help you take that time to recharge, resync, and slow down to thrive. This will help you. But we, as a mom, we can use this word when we need to get our point across to our children. But we don't often use this word to slow down. And it's the next point is taking the time to say no, right? We don't take the time to say no. So, the next big thing in taking the time and being intentional with saying no. So, we don't want to only say no, we want to take the time to be intentional with saying no. No is not a dirty word. A lot of times in our mind, no is a dirty word because, hey, we want to help. We want to be there for people. We want to be there for things. We want to be the superwoman. But sometimes we have to say no. And guess what? No's not a dirty word. No is a whole sentence. No is a finished thought. No is a final thought. And no is a final word. So let me say that again. When we're talking about the word no, it's not dirty. It's a whole sentence. It's a finished thought. It's a final thought. And it's a final word. No is no. And we have to use that word more so that we can keep our sanity, create peace, and relieve overwhelm. The word no can help you keep your sanity, create peace, and relieve overwhelm. And I want to help you out if you have a problem with saying no. If you have a problem with saying no, you may need to start with baby steps and rephrase. So, I want to give you some phrases that you can use instead of the word no if you're uncomfortable with saying no. So, here we go. These are a couple of phrases that you can use in life and in business. So you can use this in your life system, you can use this in your business system. And I want you to write them down and I want you to practice them. Practice them in a mirror, practice them in your home, practice them just saying them out loud because they will come in handy and come in clutch when there's something that you know you should not be doing, you know you don't want to do, or you know it's just can't fit, but you want to try to cram it in because you want to help. Here are those phrases. Thank you for considering me, but at this time, I cannot work it into my schedule. Here is another phrase. I checked my schedule, and at this time, I'm fully booked. Another one. I have checked my schedule, and I'm unavailable, but I'll swing back to you if something changes. So those are the fill in the word phrases. Those are the wordy phrases for people who feel uncomfortable with the short phrase no. So now when you are moving towards saying no, I want to give you some phrases that you can use that are a little shorter, but they're still not just saying no, right? So here's some shorter phrases when you get more comfortable. Here they are. I'm unavailable. I'm not interested, but thank you. It's not a good fit. Consider me next time. I'm not available right now. Right? So those are some shorter phrases. They're more frank, but they're still not saying no. So for if you want to get your point across and you want to be frank with it, but you still don't want to just come out and say no, right? So those are a little bit of shorter phrases. The next thing that I really want you to practice is I want you to practice consciously saying no, right? And what I mean by consciously saying no is knowing that when you don't want to do something, right? When it's something that you absolutely know is not in your favor or something that you know is that you just don't agree with and you wouldn't do, and you still have that iffiness with saying no, I want you to think about consciously having a phrase ready to say no to that without actually saying no if you can't say no, right? So these are things that'll change your energy, that will disturb your peace, that will interfere with your time and goals. And I want you to make it a habit to block that thing by consciously saying no. Now we know, again, no is a whole word, it's a whole thought, it's a whole vibe. But if you still have that issue with just saying no or I can't, that's another good one. I can't, right? Or I'm not vibing with that, or that's not something that's in alignment with where I am right now. So these are other ways to say no. And the reason I say that is when you're doing something that is absolutely not in alignment with you or something you really don't want to do, you're using all negative energy to do it. So you're riling up all the negative energy in your body, your mind, emotionally, physically. It's all negative energy because it's somewhere you shouldn't be anyway. So, in order to avoid that, you want to consciously say no. You want to say yes to the things that feel good, yes to the things that bring you positive energy, yes to the things you really want to do that make you happy. And you want to say no to everything else that doesn't. And sometimes it's hard, but you have to put it into practice so that it gets easier to do. Okay? So, part of consciously saying no is that um, using it within your household, right? And meaning it. And I'm not saying be rude. And this is for with your husband and your kids, right? And I'm not saying be rude. I'm just saying set a boundary and enforce it, right? So it's not being mean, it's not being rude. It's just letting your family know, okay, this is what I'm saying no to. This is why. And this is what I'm doing, right? So that you're setting your boundaries and you're putting in place to enforce them. And now, these are some of the things that you want to set boundaries for and enforce them when you're talking about saying no in your household. So let's talk about this. So the next thing is consistent you time. This is so very important. We as moms and business owners put all our time and energy into being a mom, and we put all our time and energy into being a business owner, and we forget to put any time and energy into ourselves. And we need that to what? Recharge, resync, and reset. We need the consistent me time. Well, and I'm saying consistent you time because it's for you, but it's the consistent me time. And what I want you to do, I want you to do it today. I want you to comb your schedule and do it today. Don't wait any longer. Don't say, oh, tomorrow I'm going to do it. And then it becomes next week and then next month and then next year, and you haven't taken the you time that you need, and you're waiting for somebody else to give it to you. You're waiting for your husband or significant other to say, oh, it's your birthday or it's a holiday. I want you to go take some time for yourself. Oh, you've been working really hard. I want you to go take some time for yourself. No, I don't want you to take time that someone else is giving you. What I want you to do is I want you to take the time for yourself. I want you to consciously say no to everything else and say yes to you time. And I want you to schedule it today. I want you to pick a time and a day where you can have consistent you time with no interruptions. And set a reminder for everyone else to know when it's your you time, they don't bother you, right? So pick a time and a day. I don't care how long the time is. I don't care what day it is. I don't care what time of day it is. Long as it's consistent you time, no interruptions. If you say, hey, I wake up at 6 a.m., so from 6 to 6:30, that's my me time, no interruptions, nobody around. Bam, that's your you time, and you pick the day of the week. If you can do more than one day of the week, power to you. If you can do it every day, more power to you. Whatever time you have, that's what I want you to start with until you can create more time. I don't care if it's 15 minutes, one day a week. I don't care. You need it. That's your recharge, resync, reset time, right? So pick a time and a day right now. And I want you to write it down. And I want you to start practicing this week. I don't want you to wait any longer. No, I'll do it tomorrow. Start right now. You can pause right now. Hey, so I'm interrupting this video to tell you about this really amazing community where moms are supporting moms in a really genuine way to be a support system in not only your life, but in both your home and in your business. What's better than being with a group of like-minded women who really care about you and your success? We're talking personal development, business development, co-working, networking, and just support where we meet you where you are. We get and we got you. Check out the Thrive After 9 tribe at www.thriveafter9.com. Now, back to the episode. Find your day and time and then come back to this because it's so very important. I don't want you to put it off any longer, right? So, and then I want you to set a reminder for everyone else. I don't care what your reminder is, long as when they see it, they know that's you time. Don't bother you for anything if it's not an emergency, right? So And if it's not a real emergency, meaning hospital, ambulance, somebody's broke an arm, there's somebody's bleeding, something like that, not an emergency, they lost a toy, they can't find this. Where's the food? Like, that's not an emergency. We're not talking about those things. We're talking about real life emergency, right? So, because some of those things is an emergency to them, but it's not an emergency for you, right? So these are some ways that you can set a reminder for everyone else. One of those things is you can have a timer that's going, and when they see the timer, they hear the timer, they know what that's for. You can have music that plays. Oh, when mommy's playing that music, that is her personal time, her uninterrupted time. Nobody should bother her. You can have a do not disturb sign, right? A red sign that blinks, or what, a sign you've made, a sign you've ordered off Amazon or online. They got signs out there. Get you a do not disturb sign, something that when they see it, they know to about face or to turn around and keep it pushing and leave you alone until they don't see that reminder, right? And I don't want to be harsh about it, but it's that real. We need to make sure that you are not disturbed during your you time, because this is the time for you and nobody else. All right. Now, so this is an indirect way, this you time, of saying no. It's also a slow down, and it's also a pause time, but you're still consciously saying no, because you're saying this is my time for me, not you, right? Now, when you take the time to reset, resync, and recharge by doing these things like consciously saying no, taking care of yourself, taking care of your body, slowing down to take a pause, then it'll help with those things like breakdowns, blowups, and burnout, right? Breakdowns, blowups, and burnouts. There's less overwhelm. There's less opportunity for those breakdowns. There's less opportunity for negativity. There's less opportunity for feeling inadequate. There's less opportunity for burnout when you take care of yourself in these ways. Now, let's move on a little bit, because I want to tell you about some ways to consciously and intentionally keep your body in a state of release, right? And these are some ways for releasing the negativity and bringing in the positivity, and doing it daily. And the reason I say daily is because I feel like some days we're so crammed with everything that we consistently forget to slow down, or we forget to provide pleasure to replace all the overwhelm, right? And we need that pleasure so that we can feel good, feel motivated to keep doing something, right? And that's like when you have small wins. When you have wins, you get excited about it. It makes you want to do more and win again. That's the same thing with feeling pleasure. And what I mean by feeling pleasure, I mean feeling rewarded, feeling motivated, feeling like you got something done. And it's hard to feel that when everything's in a constant state of go, 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 all the chaos, right? We want to slow down. And so we want to take the time to do these things. So the first one is we want to take time to release. And what I mean by taking time to release, we want to use this release time and separate some of those things that we already spoke about, like getting rid of pent up emotions, right? So this is the emotions part, right? We're talking about recharging our emotions. And sometimes we don't take the time to release them because we're going, and they're just bottling up and piling on. Like, we felt frustrated about this thing and we didn't take time to address it, so it just piled on. And then this thing annoyed us and we ignored it, and it just piled on, and we just took it in. And we keep doing that all throughout the day, every day, and we don't take time to release it, because the next day we wake up, it's a new day, and we're like, oh, we're just going to go about our day. But we didn't take time to release the other things. And then what's happening is you're piling all of this trash and garbage and negativity on to where you're going to get to a point where a couple of things are going to happen. You're either going to burn out, break down, or blow up. And we don't want that to happen. So, what I want you to do is take the time to release the pent up emotions. You can yell, you could scream, you could cry, but just don't hold in those daily frustrations, negative energy. We need to release that. And you could also check out screen therapy. It's a thing. You might not want to do it with other people around because you might scare the kids, depending on what age they are. You might scare your significant other. But if they're out of the house or you're out of the house, maybe you go sit in the car, maybe you go to the garage and you do scream therapy and just get it out, get all those emotions out for the day. The next thing you can do is you can take time to laugh, right? Have you ever just had a good laugh and afterwards you felt so amazing? Have you ever had that where you literally laughed and it was such a good laugh and it was so it was unintentional. I was going to say so intentional, but it was unintentional, but it felt good because it was so natural and it was so authentic, and then afterwards you felt really good. Well, it's important to laugh. And I mean uncontrollable, really good laughing. And my laugh time is spent on TikTok. So I follow a lot of accounts that often have comedic posts so that I know that when I go on TikTok, I'm going to see something funny, right? And I take time out of my day to scroll through some of the posts and just have a good laugh, right? And it helps so much because in that moment, I'm not worried about or thinking about or caring about anything else. All I'm doing is laughing. And it's really good for your emotional, mental well being and your physical well being as you're releasing those endorphins while you're laughing, right? And I also follow or watch clips from my favorite comedians who I know that I'm absolutely going to laugh at. Like, I don't care what they're doing, I'm going to laugh. I follow them as well on social media, online. I might get alerts where they have a clip somewhere on YouTube or a news clip, and I go and I check it out, and usually I'm cracking up. And I do that because I just want to set aside time to laugh throughout the day. I don't even do it once a day. I do it multiple times a day that's my release to get rid of some of that negative energy and just have some time for myself to just really kick up those endorphins. And there's also a really good room on Clubhouse for laughter yoga. It's like 10 minutes long. It doesn't even take that long. And when you go in there, it's so hard not to laugh when a bunch of people are just laughing. It may feel weird and funny at first, but it's a great place to be. So check that out. The next thing that I want to talk about is taking the time to activate your feel good hormones. One of those ways that we spoke about is laughter, right? And I want you to take the time to intentionally activate these feel good hormones. And laughing is one of those ways that you can. And so I'm just going to talk about a couple of those hormones, and you can actually look them up, feel good hormones. You could type that into Google and it'll tell you what the hormones are and how they're activated. So I'm going to just talk about some of the more popular ones that are talked about more. And one of those hormones is oxytocin, which is the love hormone, right? And it's activated during physical touch, sexual activities, and the things that cause that warm, fuzzy feeling, right? So it's just a hormone, like a feel-good hormone that's more so activated by feelings, right? And then we have dopamine. Dopamine creates feelings of reward, motivation, and pleasure. And then we have endorphins, which are the feel-good hormones, right? They're released to cope with pain. In some ways to increase them are exercise, again, sexual activity, listening to music, creating art, dancing, and laughing. And that's just a few ways to activate endorphins. And the reason I'm talking about intentionally activating hormones that make you feel good is because it helps you both mentally, physically, and emotionally when you're releasing these hormones. And to activate them intentionally means that you're keeping your body in that state of mind of feeling good versus feeling the negativity, and erasing some of that negativity that is happening throughout the day by activating these hormones. And sometimes we do these things throughout the day. We exercise, we eat, because if you're eating things that taste good, that activates your feel good hormones. I don't know if you've ever ate some food and was really good and you're like, oh my God, and then you feel good. That's one of the things that activates it. But we don't want to just sit there and eat food, right? We want to actually exercise, move our bodies as well. And then get some physical touch, get some laughter, do some of those things that humans need, right? In order to create some feel good hormones, all right? And coming down to our last couple of tips, what I want to talk to you about now is really huge. And I know I've said really huge a couple times, and that's because it's all really huge, right? But one of those things is giving yourself grace. Please, as a mom, as a business owner, give yourself grace. You can't be all and be everywhere, right? You can put on your cape sometimes, storm, get ish done, make sure your home is amazing, great, phenomenal. Make sure your business is amazing, great, phenomenal. But don't beat yourself up when everything doesn't go the way you want it to go. Know that sometimes everything will flow and sometimes it won't, and both are okay. Don't sweat the small stuff. I promise you, we get hung up in the smallest things that go wrong, and it knocks out all the amazing things that went right because we get so hung up on the negative things because it's so easy to get hung up on the negative things. But I want you to focus on the positives and let the negatives go. Don't get hung up on what didn't happen and reward yourself verbally and physically for what went right. And what I mean by that is every time something goes right, tell yourself, Ish, you're amazing. You did that. That was a good job. Physically reward yourself. Do a little happy dance. Go out and purchase something that you wanted. Reward yourself for the things that went right and don't dwell on everything that went wrong, right? And lastly, the last thing that I do want to say to you guys is go at a pace. And lastly, what I want to say to you guys is go at a pace that feels good to you. Go at a pace that feels good to you. You are you, not anybody else. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Stop comparing yourself to other moms. Stop worrying about what you're doing, what you're not doing that other moms are doing. It doesn't matter. You're not them. They're not you. Do what feels good to you and go at a pace that feels good to you. Don't get caught up in the caught up. If you don't understand what I'm saying, I'm going to say it again. Don't get caught up in the caught up, because none of that other ish matters. You're you. You're doing you're doing a phenomenal job at being you, doing what you're doing, how you do it. You're rocking it. So don't worry about what anybody else is doing. Go at a pace that feels good to you. Do what feels good to you as a mom and as a business owner. And I want to thank you for tuning in to Mommy Moments, a segment of Unapologetically Mommyhood podcast. So this has been another Mommy Moment, and I'll see you next time.